Well, hey there, good morning. Welcome to Still Up with 6. I'm Heidi Laga.
And I'm Chris Rogers, getting a little sip of coffee there, Heidi, to kick off our Still Up with 6 segment on this Thursday morning. We are so happy to continue the conversation here on the show as a couple people are joining us now.
Yeah, let's wait for more people to come and join us on Still Up with 6. Of course, this is where we continue the conversation. We talk about things that we didn't touch on Texas today. So I'm excited because we've got some stuff that we didn't talk about all morning long, so this is all fresh stuff.
Not all of it's fresh stuff, but we've got some fresh stuff that we're excited to kick things off with. But let's get to what we've been talking about. We have been talking about this all morning long.
Yes, we have. This was our big question of the day. We asked you guys to weigh in all morning long. We're talking about pets on patios at restaurants. Governor Abbott just signed a bill that goes into effect September 1st that will require or allow restaurants to have pets on their patios. It is still up to the restaurant to decide if they want that.
Right. So Governor Abbott signed this bill that basically says, you know, cities can't say you can't have them on their patios. So we asked this morning does it affect your dining experience? Would you avoid a restaurant if it meant if they had dogs on the patio? A lot of you said no this morning, but it has been pretty close all morning long. Good morning to you, Teresa. Good morning, Abigail. Thanks for joining the conversation. For me, I'm a dog owner. I've had my dog on patios before, eating by myself. Nice to have a little friend here, but yeah, some pooches on patios here. But my dog's well behaved, and my dog is very mild mannered. So there's not the jumping, the begging, the barking, the growling, the crying. Yeah. So I think a lot of people said it really depends on the dog, and some people even pointed out that their dogs are behaved better than most humans. Yeah,
which was interesting. I think the behavioral part of this was a big topic of discussion for a lot of you guys who weighed in on Facebook and on Twitter for our question of the day. Justin saying absolutely not. He would not avoid locations where there would be pets on the patios, which echoes our live poll right there on your screen that you can actually still vote on. If you go to kcentv.com/vote, you can weigh in and cast your vote there. Ronnie saying it's not an issue.
Yeah, so we're seeing more and more people who are actually casting their vote and commenting us here on Still Up with 6 and saying that, no, you're not going to avoid it just because there's dogs there. Now, I'll tell you what, it could be in a restaurant-to-restaurant type thing. There's people, just like kids. Nancy says, Chris, we're drinking a little coffee this morning. Nancy, thank you for asking. I've got to kickstart the day. But it's just like kids, though. If your child is unbehaved, unruly, it could ruin a restaurant experience, just like a dog. I mean, if a dog if it's just sitting there, looking around, enjoying the experience along with you, what's wrong with it?
Yeah, our executive producer, Erin, actually brought a good point that I didn't even think about. She was saying that she has a dog she's a fur mama, and she has her own dog, but she was saying that the reason why she wouldn't like it is because sometimes the servers will go around, they'll pet the dog, and then they'll come and serve you your food, which can be unsanitary. So I can see why some people would say, yes, they would avoid patios where pets are there. Personally, I'd love to bring my dog Louie with me everywhere if I could, and if he was allowed. So I think I'm in on the dog situation on patios.
Yeah, and Abigail says, I think dogs are awesome. I would love to see it more often. And Teresa's saying she actually takes her 4-pound Yorkie everywhere. She's very well behaved. Yeah, that's kind of, I've got a dog, he's probably about 9 pounds, Little Bear Rogers, of course. You guys are familiar with him. And he goes with me, and he's very well behaved. He doesn't try to bark or bite or jump or anything like that. He just kind of sits and hangs out. And Jesse's saying, good morning, as long as it's not in the actual restaurant.
Yeah, and that's the thing, is that it wouldn't be inside the restaurant. It would be just, this bill is specifically for the patios of restaurants. And I take Louie everywhere with me, and he's pretty well behaved, and anywhere he's allowed, I do take him, and I take advantage of that because I like spending time with him, and I'm sure a lot of dog parents can agree. They love spending time with their dog, and it's like eating at home. You eat and you're at your dinner table, and your dog is sitting right there. So I think if your dog is well behaved, and we have to emphasize that, and I want to emphasize that because I don't want to go to a restaurant where a dog is not behaving.
Yeah, and this is coming from Nell, who says, depends on the situation. If it's a service dog, yes, and that brings up an interesting discussion about service dogs in restaurants because you can just go online these days and print off a service dog certification, and that's been a real problem for people who actually need service dogs. And so if you're just like, well, it's my service dog, and it's a barking, yappy dog that's all over the place, and it's not very well trained, it's kind of tough. That's an interesting comment from Preston. We'll kind of insinuates what I was talking about before, where sometimes kids are just as badly behaved. He said, a dog on the patio or a kid climbing over the booth behind me. I choose the dog and I'd choose the dog too. So I think that's an interesting point.
And I think a lot of people who commented on Facebook were saying that this depends on the dog. And I think that's where dog parents need to understand where their dog's at. I think we're all aware of our dog and if they're well behaved or not. I'll tell you, my dog can be not well behaved sometimes.
He can be a little bit of a handful.
He can be a handful. So I know that about my dog. And I think when I put myself in that situation, I have to be courteous to other people around me at the restaurant and not bring my dog if he's going to misbehave.
Yeah, but it certainly, you know, it doesn't affect my dining experience, and I think a lot of people are agreeing. But some people who do say yes say, you know, they maybe feel it's unsanitary, or if there's, you know, too many dogs in one area, it can get a little rowdy, a little rambunctious, and not the time or place. But for me, it actually enhances my dining experience. I love dogs. I've seen a dog out there, happy dog, makes my dining experience all that much better.
Well, you brought up a good point. Other dogs, you can't forget how your dog will react if they see other dogs on the patio. Because if this becomes a popular thing, more and more people are going to start bringing their dogs to patios if they're allowed, right? So that means that the dogs are going to be seeing each other and interacting. So you also have to put that in mind as a dog parent if you're able to take your dog and they can behave around other dogs, not just necessarily around humans.
Yeah, someone said in the newsroom, what about folks with allergies? Well, it's an interesting point, but
that is a great point.
But it also that opens the door to where's the line drawn? You know what I mean? If we're making exceptions for folks with allergies to dogs, what about allergies to anything else? What about allergies to shellfish and allergies to you know what I mean?
That's true.
And it's like I think that if you have allergies, people are way too wound up about germs coming from Ronnie. Yeah, it's not the biggest thing for me, the sanitary issue. Of course, I don't want the dog licking my plate, but just to have dogs in the restaurant doesn't bother me with the germ issue.
Interesting here from Sissy saying, no, I would not eat at a restaurant where there is dogs. So that's an interesting, because that's one of the first no's that we've seen. Sissy, tell us why. What makes you not want to go to that restaurant? Are you just not a dog person, or is it germs? It's interesting because I can see both sides of this, and I think I've been bouncing back and forth all morning long on our question of the day. It's been a tough one, and I can see why it's pretty down the middle right now, with 58% saying nope. They wouldn't mind if there was pets on the patio. But I think there should be, I will say, I do think that there should be a rule with the servers petting the dogs.
Yeah.
I think there needs to be some sort of rule. Yeah,
and I think people will continue to weigh in on this. Kyle is commenting on our next issue, our next topic we want to talk about, paternity leave.
Yes. So, Alexis Ohanian, I think that's how I say his last name. He's married to Serena Williams. He's one of the founders of Reddit. He's teaming up with Dove, and he wants people to sign this petition, men and female, to sign this petition where men will get paternity leave, and that's a petition. And he actually plans to go to Capitol Hill and push for this, for federal paid family leave legislation. That's what he wants. Of course, he is a father to a daughter with Serena.
Kyle says, all I know is if this happens, I'm getting retroactive paternity leave. Yeah, so he's saying maybe he's already had the kids, and he's like, well, listen, if you're getting time off now, I'll go back. I'll take my old paternity leave. Is this a rollover?
Yeah, you see, I think that parents deserve, not just females and the mom. I think that dads deserve time with their newborn. It's an exciting time. It's something new, and it really could help mom. I mean, let's not forget about mom here, who carried the baby and now is having to deal with the baby as a newborn all by herself because dad has to go work and is not getting paternity leave. I think that it should be a parental thing.
Yeah,
everybody.
You can't forget about the dads. Come on now. You know what I mean? Why do I have to go to work after a couple of days after and you know, it's the mom? Listen. I want to say something. It's very clear. Obviously, the birth process is not equal.
No.
You know, the women go through a lot more. And I said you, and I didn't mean you went through the birth process. I want to make that clear.
In the future,
that wasn't an announcement here.
Yeah.
I'm still up with 6. But women go through a lot more than men do during the birth process. But after the fact, you're both co-parents. You're both 50-50. So
not just that, but you also think about, the baby's going to be crying. It's going to be disturbing your sleep as much as it would be disturbing mine, or any parents at home. It's a divided thing where the parents are both involved now that the baby's brought into this world. So why can't dad take time off that he's getting paid, but spending time helping mom, taking care of the baby, bonding with the baby? I mean, you think about the bonding that the mom has with the baby if she's breastfeeding or if she has maternity leave and the dad is working. That's a big bonding experience that I think dads miss out on.
Yeah, but this is coming from critical bonding time. Yeah, I think it's a great idea. Yeah, it's actually really important bonding time. Okay, so this is coming from Frank, who says he got 6 weeks paternity leave at my job, and that was 18 years ago, and it got each time for all my 4 children. It varies on the job you work at. Yeah, okay, thanks, Frank, for weighing in, because there are certain companies that have policies that allow for paternity leave. Obviously, Frank's company is pretty generous. 6 weeks of paternity leave is very generous, and I think that I'm sure Frank probably found that beneficial for when he was raising his 4 kids.
And it's interesting interesting that, that's for paternity leave, because some maternity leaves are not even that long. So that's interesting. Abigail saying my husband received about 10 days for free or so when my son was born. Of course, with the military, they cut in that because they need people. So we only got about 5 days out of it but it was amazing. I had a C-section, so he took most of the work the first few days. Yes, that's another thing, is recovering. For moms out there who have natural birth or have a C-section, it's tiring on the body, let alone now you are dealing with feeding the baby, being up with it, and taking care of it all on your own. It's exhausting, and I feel for all the moms out there, and I think that dad should take part in that as well.
Yeah, and Abigail's husband probably had to go back to work, and 5 days is that's pretty brief.
That is brief.
And, I'm sure she's maybe looking at, Frank's situation where he got 6 weeks and is probably hoping that, wondering, why can't it be equal? And I think this is what this policy is pushing for, is that it's going to be equal in some way, so there's some kind of support system there for moms.
Yeah, it's interesting. Yeah, facts. I like this comment here from our own account here. I'm not pregnant. Just want to put that on the record for everyone.
We can confirm that.
Yeah, we can confirm that. We can verify that.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think that this is something that everyone should sign. Everyone should get behind.
G is saying, I can see some deadbeat dads trying to abuse this. Yeah, of course you want to do situation. If you're not present in your kid's life, you don't just get free vacation time. You don't get to just jet off to Cape Cod or something, or Disney, because you're a parent, right? I mean, that's obviously, you got to be around, you got to be raising the kid, you got to be bonding with the child. So you can't be, abusing paternity leave just because you don't have to be with the kid.
I agree, but I think that it is something that, we should all push for, just in fairness of both parents being there and involved in the baby's life and bonding with the baby and helping mom out from after carrying that baby for 9 months. It's exhausting, and I can only imagine. So yeah, I think that paternity leave, I'm all behind it.
All right, let's move on. Speaking of parenting, let's talk about this next topic. You were telling me about this today before the show. What is salad frosting?
Salad frosting is now the new way that you will get your kids, for parents at home, to eat ranch. Kraft is actually just changing the name and calling it salad frosting, making it look like it would if it were frosting.
With ranch dressing in very small letters down here. Very
small, to where maybe your kid can't even read it. But yeah, salad frosting, it's to help encourage kids to eat the ranch that comes on the salad. There's even a little leaf there on the kid's tooth there, right above my head, if you see it. I think that this is a cool idea. I think more brands should find ways to promote healthy eating. What? You don't?
I disagree. I think that if you're sending the wrong message here, if it's kind of a fantasy land where you're saying, oh, this is just salad frosting. It's not ranch dressing.
Yeah.
And these are just sugar sticks, not carrots.
Yeah, but if we're gonna teach our kids to eat healthy, I think that it's important that they get behind it one way or another without forcing it, because then that will make them not like the vegetable or like the salad dressing or like salad. I just think if you can find ways to convince them to eat it, then they realize they like it. It could be a good thing.
When I was growing up at the dinner table, it would be, listen, you don't leave until you have it. You want some ranch, have some ranch. You want some blue cheese, have some blue cheese, but you eat your vegetables. Jim, our fearless leader, Jim Heiss, says every kid loves ranch. Yeah, I don't think this is the thing you need to disguise. Ranch dressing is delicious by itself.
It is, you're right. I always buy those little dips. Honestly, I buy those little dips and just eat the ranch. It's delicious.
Yeah, you just pounded packets of ranch?
No, I eat the vegetables, but because of the ranch, I'm eating the vegetables.
Hummus pudding, yeah. Are we going to rename all the condiments now?
Listen, if you're a parent with a picky eater as a kid, I think that this is cool.
All of a sudden, ketchup's named Red Velvet Drizzle.
I like that.
I mean,
let's contact Heinz.
Yeah, Heinz.
Get that going.
They've got all those new condiments. I got to work for the marketing department, maybe part-time.
You do. That was amazing. Red Velvet Drizzle.
So Tanisha's saying, my kids like broccoli without ranch. Yeah, Chris, can't leave the table. Okay, good to see there's still some parents out there enforcing the can't leave the table policy. I would just sit there for hours with carrots in front of me.
You would just sit there and wait.
Yeah, I would just sit there and wait until I finished it off. Abigail saying, my son loves ranch itself. He's 3 and pours it on salads himself. That's the same thing that Jim was saying too, is that kids already like ranch. This is a weird food item to disguise as frosting.
And I will say, Jim's daughter actually loves salad. Did you know that?
Well, that is interesting.
She wanted that for her birthday meal. A salad.
You know what? Teresa says raising 3 kids, whatever works. Teresa, hey, you know what? I can't argue with you because you're a parent. I'm not a parent. Maybe
Yes.
maybe once you get so frustrated that they're not eating their vegetables, you say, listen, you want some frosting? Have some frosting.
Well,
Put it on your veggies. Let's call it a day.
Here's the thing. I'm a picky eater. I still am. I always have been. My mom will say yes and agree to this if she's watching. And I think as a kid, I think she would have enjoyed to have some products where there's skies like that. So
Yeah.
I'm behind this.
Definitely an interesting topic today. We are being told we are out of time. I can't believe it. The time has flown as it does every single morning with you guys here on the show. But have no fear. We are back tomorrow.
All new topics to discuss. We want to thank everyone for joining our conversation on Still Up with 6. And that does it for today.
Yeah, we'll see you guys tomorrow.